Trata de tu ropa, al agregar Lysol Laundry Sanitizer, eliminas el 99% de las bacterias que causan enfermedades. Lysol, lo que se necesita para proteger. Seguir indicaciones de uso.
Looking back at the world of sports, it's the iHeartRadio Weekend Sports Time Capsule.
What's going on, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West, and I'm here to take you on a journey back to this week in sports history. To start off in the year 1900, the AL meets in Chicago and announced the American League will be made up of the Chicago White Stockings, Washington Senators, Milwaukee Brewers, Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Blues, Boston Americans, Philadelphia Athletics, and Baltimore Orioles. This week in 1908, Tommy Burns KOs Jem Roach in 88 seconds in the quickest world heavyweight boxing title fight to date. Jumping way ahead, this week in 1974, the Oakland A's signed Herb Washington, the then world record holder in the 50 and 60-yard dash. Washington, who had no baseball experience outside of high school, was tapped for the sole purpose of running the bases. In 1974, Washington appeared in 92 games, but never swung a bat and never played in the field. He remains the only non-pitcher to ever play in 100 games without having an official at-bat. Jumping ahead, this week in 2007, Dallas's Mike Modano becomes the 39th player in NHL history and second born in the U.S. to reach 500 goals. This week in 2010, Michael Jordan becomes the first ex-player to be a majority owner in the NBA. And this week in 2012, BYU pulls off the biggest comeback in NCAA tournament history on a wild opening night. The Cougars rally from 25 points down to beat Iona 78-72 in the first round.
And that's just some of what happened this week in sports history. The Weekend Sports Time Capsule on iHeartRadio.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Clouds, windy and cold today. Watch out for some blowing and drifting snow. High today, 12. Clouds and a bitter cold night tonight with the low at -3. And then sunny, cold day tomorrow, the high 20. Sunny, not as cold on Sunday, the high at 35. And then partly sunny. It'll be a cold day for Monday, the high 26. Clouds and sun, breezy on Tuesday, high 30. Plan with confidence. Check with AccuWeather.com and download the app today. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Steve Williams.
Well, we only got down to 18 yesterday, so yeah, it does feel colder today. And by Sunday, it warms up a little bit. So we got that to look forward to. Bismarck, the moment it feels like 12 below with that northwest wind at 10, gusting to 18. Pressure is rising at 30.17. Relative humidity 69%, clear and 3 above. KFire Radio, your news and weather authority. I'm going to untie my tongue. 841, guns in the 701 next.
OSF On-Call Urgent Care makes it easy to get affordable, quick, convenient care for minor illnesses and injuries when and where you need it. Reserve an appointment online or walk in for care at an OSF On-Call Urgent Care Clinic on Chicago's South Side. We're open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, even on holidays. Virtual visits are available 24/7, 365. Get started today or find a clinic near you at osfoncall.org/urgent care.
With the metaverse, firefighters will one day be able to use augmented reality to navigate burning buildings faster, saving them crucial seconds when lives are on the line. The metaverse may be virtual, but the impact will be real. Learn more at meta.com/metaverseimpact.
Why choose Loyola University Chicago's Accelerated BSN program? If you've already earned a non-nursing bachelor's degree, it helps you earn a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree in just 16 months. But that's not all. The Loyola University Chicago ABSN program gives you the nursing skills, the clinical experience, the Jesuit Catholic education, and the name recognition to stand out with employers. Choose from 2 program formats, online or face-to-face. Search Loyola University Chicago ABSN to learn more.
844 and K-Fire Guns in the 701. Gentlemen, how are you this morning?
Great, God.
Best podcast on iHeart. And it's the biggest podcast platform, so that says a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the best one's coming right out of North Dakota. Loving it. All right, so the poor Polish, one, all those generations of Polak jokes to begin with. 2, World War II and what that, kind of tried doing to them. But now they're having to take up arms again. What is going on over there?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that, isn't it? You know, they see an invading country coming over to Ukraine, that being Putin and the Russians, and I guess they're a little nervous, and I think rightfully so. History hasn't treated them well, so they're taking matters into their own hands. They're seeing an increase of Polish men and women that are taking up arms, literally going to the ranges and learning how to shoot, buying firearms, getting their license because they don't have a right like we do here, and preparing themselves. They're not going to depend on the government. They're going to just try and make sure that they can defend themselves if they decide to be the Russians decide to come in and essentially invade them from Ukraine.
They don't have a Second Amendment kind of or constitutional thing working for them. I mean, what do they have to do?
Yeah, I mean, they got to get a federal, or well, not federal, but they got to get a gun license to even have one. And I'm not sure of all their regulations over there because, I've never been interested in their stuff. But I know that they can't just go get a firearm like we can here. And they actually have one of the lowest ownerships in all of Europe as far as firearms go. I found it very interesting, though. In their preparations, guess what they're doing, Todd?
Huh.
They are actually going to go into the schools. They're going to propose having semester-long classes for shooting sports because, like the instructor said, I believe that sporting shooting is very good for the children in a safety educational program. Not only that, they had an inauguration of a high school shooting range in southern town of Myskov last year, and the prime minister attended and said if Russia should ever think about attacking Poland, Russia must know, the Kremlin must know, that in Poland, 40 million Poles are ready to stand up arms in hand and defend their homeland. How about that?
There you go. So if you're still telling Polak jokes, switch them around to Russian because they're the people that deserve to be picked on out of the whole global bag away.
So if anybody listening, I want you to just, what Clayton just said there about their prime minister, could you ever, if you lived 500 years, could you ever imagine Joe Biden saying anything like that about a gun range opening up?
I can imagine America voting somebody in the White House, but not the current occupant. No, not at all.
Yeah. It's crazy, folks. Believe me, it's nuts. Yeah, so getting a gun in Poland, I actually looked it up a while back, and it's actually, which surprised me because what that prime minister said, in Poland would be every wet dream Democrat had about getting a gun over here, they have over there, and then more. But now they're having a gun range. So, hey, I'll give Putin credit for something. He's maybe waking these people up to letting people be self-reliant and defend their country with their firearms, because that's kind of a recurring theme in this whole story, that these people seem to get it about defending themselves and starting to get prepared, where a lot of people in America don't get that.
Some people badmouth gangs in big cities, but here's another way to look at it. Homeschooling, learning how to shoot.
Perfect. I call that physical education. That'd be your PE class.
They're not teaching you they won't let it be taught in the schools, so we got to teach the kids ourselves, and the parents aren't there to teach it, so we make sure the kids teach each other how to do it. I'm not trying to glorify it. I'm just saying, well, I guess it does have its positive. Sort of have to defend themselves.
Good spin you got there.
I like the Polish idea though of let's actually have it formally taught and then have everybody on the same level, theoretically anyway. But oh well.
Yeah, well, they're actually
go ahead, JD.
Go ahead, Clay. Okay, this instructor's actually going to bring a real gun into the school to prepare these kids for it.
Well, and I've heard stories about when my dad went to school. I mean, you brought your rifle, you had it in your locker, you took it out when it was gun class time. Because you learn how to properly use it.
Well, that's what I was
going to say. Poland's doing that.
They still do that in some of the Minneapolis schools. It's just a little more secretive now, but and it's not an instructor. The instructor's a fellow student / gang member type or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently we need to teach dog gun safety now. The heck happened?
Yeah. Well, I've actually heard of this, but we got a guy down in Kansas, a 32-year-old hunter. He died when his dog stepped on his rifle. So, he must have put the gun, he was sitting in the front passenger seat of his pickup, put all his rifle and gear in the back, and didn't take a round out of the chamber when he went inside the vehicle. Dog was, dogs run around, they're excited when it's hunting season. Stepped on the trigger, killed the guy, shot him right in the back, killed him. There's another guy in New Mexico too. Same thing happened. He was bird hunting. Put his dogs in the back of his pickup there with the shotgun, and luckily it went shot through the seat or whatever and hit the guy. Only broke some of his ribs and whatnot, and he lived, unlike the first guy. Then there was another story out of Turkey. They were bird hunting over there, and the same thing happened with the dogs. And then this guy died, and then the police tried to charge the other guy who lived with him with murder, but he ended up getting cleared of it eventually. But
yeah, but he probably had to spend money on lawyers, and good grief.
Yeah, in Turkey, I could imagine the litigation over there. But I've actually had friends that they were bird hunting, and the dogs are in the back of a van, and came back and told me the story. One of the guys didn't take the shell out of the chamber; it was unsafe. But the dog's claws and feet are around and blew a hole right in the side of the minivan. So make sure you unload your.
It's only a minivan. I mean, it's collateral damage. That's what those are for, target practice in the first place. Pick on minivans.
That one was.
Guns in the 701. 701. And, from time to time you hear Daryl Lease make me play this song for him as his theme music for Your Talk. And there's a reason for it. And it's not because it's a slow country song, although that seems to be Daryl's speed sometimes. But Aaron Lewis is actually a good dude.
He is, yeah. I learned a lot about him. I wasn't really into the new country stuff, and he's part of NRA country. And I tell you, you want to find a more freedom-minded individual and patriot, it's Aaron Lewis. And that's why that song, Daryl picked it. That doesn't surprise me, or he likes it, because it's freedom-minded, and I think it sets a sediment.
It's a fabulous message, absolutely.
Yes,
no doubt about
absolutely. That. It's setting the tone, I think, what a lot of people are thinking.
But, if we're going to grab country gun songs, this is the one that set the standard years ago. This is one that Governor Kristi Noem should be played up for walk-up music for her.
Beer in the cabaret and was I having fun until one night she caught me riding. Now I'm on the run. Lay that pistol down, babe, lay that pistol down. Pistol packing mama, lay that pistol down.
Shouldn't that be Kristi Noem's walk-up music, Pistol packing mama? Come on.
See Ryder voice while that's playing.
Carrying the flag.
Yeah, it's like she did in Deadwood up on stage.
See?
So Aaron Lewis, Todd, he's one of the NRA country artists, and they sponsor a lot of these artists who are real pro-America people and about your freedoms and liberties here. And he's always, even when he's on tour, he's hunting. He said he's kind of gave up hunting whitetails because he shot so many big ones that he usually hunts coyotes now because there's no bag limit. And this gal from the NRA asked him about, how your songs speak to America and the voice of freedom. What does freedom mean to you? And this is a good reason why Daryl probably uses it. He said, we once thought our constitutionally protected freedom was impenetrable to the forces of evil that seek to destroy what our founding fathers had the wisdom and fortitude to create and stand up against all odds for what was right and what just for all. So, that's actually a good thing there for Daryl's show. That goes right along with that. So I don't know if Daryl's ever really looked into this guy, but sounds to me like that's perfect for what Daryl's got.
Don't know if he's looked into the guy so much, but the message of the song, let's face it, am I the only one? You look at the world around you and you just shake your head and go, what the? Except you can't.
I actually like Stained better. Than this country stuff, but whatever.
Somebody was trying to convince me that Stained was from North Dakota just because they spell it without the E. And I'm like, no, it's not. That's not what. It's not what that is.
No.
Yeah, there you go. There's some Stained right there.
Yeah. I got all the good songs right
Todd
here.
has them all. Yeah, he's got them all.
Guns in the 701 on iHeart. And, of course, Wednesday night, the new stuff drops. Big YouTube thing. What did you guys do this week?
Oh, we took Jon Stewart was out there. I really thought he got one over on this senator in Oklahoma about gun control and gun rights. So Clay and I took the better part of an hour probably to take apart John Stewart. And we talked about Montana's gun industry success. They got all these gun companies there and ammo companies. And of course, we talked about Biden's communist executive orders further infringing on our Second Amendment rights. And then we had the happy ending story as usual, which really was a good happy ending. And it was good. And before I get off and let Clay take over, Todd, I just want to say tomorrow, Dakota Prairie Outdoors, 8 a.m. Central, I'm going to be on with Scott Bachmeyer. He's doing a show from my place. So tune into that on K-Fire. Yeah, tune into that on K-Fire.
I'll be sitting right in this chair when that show happens because I always make sure we got everything hooked up there. I wouldn't want to miss it. So.
And we're planning to broadcast that live on ours if it works out. I think we'll be able to do that too. So
fantastic.
Awesome.
Guns in the 701, make sure you get the iHeart app and make sure you subscribe and all that stuff because these guys work very hard, do a very good job. They're darn good Americans, and I'm darn glad to be friends with these guys.
Yep. You can catch our show every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard, 7 p.m. Central on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel and at www.gunsandthe701.com. And after that, we upload the podcast to iHeart and all these other so-called podcast platforms.
Well, just because we let them have a little bit of our crumbs, but that's,
we appreciate it, Todd. We definitely appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Guns in the 701 every Friday here at Mitchell in the morning at K-Fire. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Listen for you tomorrow here, as a matter of fact, on K-Fire. 8:57. Okay, so I'm running late. Story of my life. Brady Felch of Bismarck is 26 today. Ray Frank, 95. Got to get him on. I bet there's stories.